This is Jeanette from All Art Licensing, and I want to welcome Phil Cowley, the Chief Marketing Officer from Design Design, to the All Art Licensing interview series on our blog. Welcome, Phil.
Hi, Jeanette. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Fantastic, as always.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm so excited to have you here because I think that the more that the artists and designers learn about the different manufacturers and how you relate to your consumers and retail, I just think the better job they can do. So that's why this is important, and we're going to just dive right in. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about the philosophy of Design Design.
Oh, sure. So the company Design Design was started in 1986 by our president and still founder, Don Khalil. And I'll give you a little bit of background about what the philosophy of the company was, which is quite different. We actually took an inverted approach. Don began his career as a stockbroker, but he was actually a user of the product. And he spoke with his wife, and he came up with the concept. He said, I really think I can give this a go in the greeting card business. Well, now the company's much larger, and we'll go into greater depth on that.
Sure.
But what Don started the company was from an inside-out approach of first identifying why exist in the business. And he has not changed that mission. He has not changed that vision. And our mission is to connect people with people. At our core, that's our mission.
And it's really about then how the consumer uses the product and what they want to do and achieve.
For sure. So then we shift from the why we exist into how do we exist? Well, we exist by offering trend-driven product that's not only aesthetically trend-pleasing, but also very relevant in the change of lifestyle behavior in whether or not it's going to a party, giving a party, sending an occasion. So then what we do is then that is how we connect people to people. The last concentric circle of it is actually, what do you do? Okay. And what we do is we create consumer product goods in 6 key categories: greeting cards, paper tableware, gift packaging, a category that we call cocktailing, which is it's very loose, unplanned, social, quick occasions.
Okay.
Mostly surrounding alcohol.
Right. I gathered that.
And laughing a lot. But these are not pre-planned events. Stationary gift, and that can be correspondence, that could be stationary gifts, it could be notes, memo pads, that variety of giftable stationary products. Right. And the last category is cake candles.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And the reason for the cake candles is they actually complete the experience in entertaining.
Absolutely. So then how does your team really research, the design trends and analyze what's happening in the marketplace so that you can be launching appropriate products 18 months or a year and a half from now?
Right. Well, these bags underneath my eyes are one indication of how tirelessly we constantly chase the trends. Not only in social behavior, we travel to Europe every year, twice a year, for anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Myself, our senior creative director, Tom Vitoy, our associate creative director, Elise Flynn, and our trend and design director, Kate Dowling. And we travel together. We travel separately. I also make 1 or 2 trips to Asia because we're highly influenced in the Asian market because paper is pure, and that's where it comes from, especially in gift packaging. So what we do is not only are we seeing the trends from a fashion standpoint and a fashion influence, we're also looking at lifestyles and how those lifestyles may or may not translate into the North American market space. Because we not only sell to North America, we also sell in the UK as well.
Okay, so your primary market's North America, secondary is the UK.
Yes.
You're looking for trends that are translating well here, not necessarily what's happening in South America or other places.
Exactly. But we're highly influenced as well from South American culture.
Okay.
So the fashion culture actually translates probably from South America into Maison Objet in Paris. So we do Paris, Fashion Week. We do London Fashion Week. So we also look at fashion trends as well and see how they can translate either color switch wise or maybe how do we replicate three-dimensional form back in two-dimensionally and then with treatments. So we actually reinvent the whole process.
And would you say that fashion is the most influential industry into the paper products arena?
I would say fashion, furniture, and believe it or not, lighting.
Fashion, furniture, and lighting. I
Yes.
think that's really important for people to know.
Yes, because what we're seeing is in the maturation of manufacturing processes and treatments, embellishments that we can use,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not it's greeting cards, handmade greeting cards, or maybe an embellished bag, we are definitely seeing a response from the consumer market in terms of dimensionality. So actually what we do is it's the exact opposite for an artist who is actually translating a three-dimensional space onto a two-dimensional object.
Right.
And then we have to try to draw out that energy from an artist and find out what their inspiration was. So then we can deconstruct it and reconstruct it.
Sure.
So we spend a lot of time with our artists. I would say over half of our day is spent talking, coaching artists, letting them know where they're going with their design direction, maybe where they're detouring off, and then we actually supply them. What kind of the culmination of our visits are what we deliver in a trend inspiration.
So
And
that's
this is a book.
wow.
This is our Bible.
Okay.
This is how we work with the artists, and it will tell them trends. It'll tell them colorways so that they know our color palette. It'll tell them influences that we're seeing, whether or not it's from slubbing from fabric onto material use in furniture and design. And all these influences kind of come together into the product that we make.
And that's what your artists now are looking at and reviewing, and they're creating. You're actually producing product for 2016 and beyond now, right?
Yeah, we're actually complete. We're complete with our core release for 2016.
Okay.
And then here within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be done with Christmas next year.
Next year. Right.
So we are constantly in an evolution of creating products.
Absolutely.
We probably refresh our line close to 35% overall comprehensively year after year.
And that's quite high, I think, for the industry.
It's very taxing, not only on our artists, though. So as you pass this on, tell them they won't get any more sleep than we will.
Okay.
But why we keep the perpetual motion is in our everyday product line, we're constantly trying to release product every 30 to 45 days so that we don't go through the spikes. We have the spikes because of the development process for artists on the main holiday seasons, whether or not that's Valentine, Christmas, Mother's Day. They take a lot of effort and they take an entirely different mindset. So rather than having one comprehensive release, I mean, we probably make over 2,000 individual products a year, new. Yeah. And then we expand it into new categories as well.
And at retail, where would you say you're focusing at retail? And I know that you're using that book you mentioned to me in your training of your sales reps as well.
Yes, we actually took a philosophy that's very unique in the industry.
Okay.
We love independent retailers. They're at our core. I've been in the industry personally for over 21 years, selling to independent retailers way back in the day. And they're very important because the consumers seek those independent stores out very differently than they do mass and regional business.
Yeah.
So we sell to over 3,000 rooftops in the independent channel. And we're likely the only company that is committed to that market channel.
Yeah, that's reaching its saturation level with independence. Yeah.
Yeah. So we break our business up into 3 segments.
Okay.
And ultimately what we're trying to do is get to the consumer because she is who we want to sell our product to. Mm-hmm. So we have the independent channel, 3,000 rooftops, roughly between 150 to 175 independent sales reps beating on doors on local streets, selling face to face to buyers of either, single rooftop or maybe one or two locations in various different venues. Some of them are salons, some of them are bookstores, some of them are design accessory stores. It's a vast category of opportunity that we have. Bakeries sell our cake handles into local bakeries.
Sure, sure.
And so it's a very high touch relationship. Why that's important to us is that we get the nuances from entrepreneurial people into what they accept or what they think is relevant to the consumer. It's a great insight for us marketers to know, are we really touching the consumer? So that's one vertical. The next vertical is our national and regional account business.
Okay.
Which is very big, very, very big.
Those are more the chain stores.
Chain stores, mass, we sell to Meyer, we sell to specialty multi-rooftop channels, Bed Bath & Beyond, Container Store, sell our own product line into some of these stores, as well as we also develop product for them under their banner.
Okay.
So oftentimes we will take, it may not be product that is relevant for the design core business strategy,
sure,
but we will take that artwork and we'll deliver that maybe to a unique buying channel, and they may pick it up.
Mm-hmm. And with the same quality and
absolutely, yes, because we kind of are the resident experts. I mean, if you're in a Bed Bath & Beyond, believe me, our category is not foremost in their head.
Right.
But it's very high margin, great opportunity for us. Yeah. We sell to a lot of grocery accounts.
Is that the third channel, or that's still part of the chains?
Still part of the chains. Okay. So these are both regional. They could be small mom-and-pop regional chains, mm-hmm. As well as national chains such as Sprouts and some of some of the multi-state distribution channels through there. Big business there, because why in our product category, we need to be where consumers are. Mm-hmm. So the industry has shifted. It used to be they all used to travel to the mall. Well, everyone doesn't travel to the mall anymore. So we have to follow where the people are, which is why grocery and gourmet grocery is very important to us. Mm-hmm. The last channel is our e-commerce channel.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And that's where you can find us at www.designdesign.us.
.us, okay.
That is where the consumer can actually purchase our product directly.
That's great. So, and you said you're training, how many sales reps do you have nationwide? And you're training?
In the independent channel, I believe right now we have about 175 to 190.
Great. So what's hot that's coming up for 2016? Do you see maybe a couple trends that you already know is on the forefront for the next year?
Well, and I alluded to it in the beginning, we're really seeing this affinity of dimensionality.
Oh, the dimensionality, okay.
And how that is interpreted and how it's translated into our product. Mm-hmm. So as we're coming out of a recession, and I'm a firm believer that we're out of it, because I'm always a half glass full kind of guy.
Yeah, me too.
Who wants to sit in that misery all the time? We're here to have fun, right? But what you start seeing is an expanse of human mind to actually go out and explore and look for new opportunity. Mm-hmm. And in that, it's natural to look into deeper areas. What we're seeing and what we began to see about 2 years ago was this deep sea exploration. What else is out there? What other kind of life is out there? It may not even be human life. It might be something that's microscopic. We're also seeing an expansion to the universe.
In the stars, right.
To the stars and into that. And what that is it helps us as designers, because then that shows an open mind. And if people aren't nesting like they do when they're fearful.
They're not hovering in, nesting. Exactly. They're more open. So yeah, they're open to new ideas and new designs and new spaciousness. That would translate in a lot of ways into design, wouldn't it?
Right. And it's very interesting how you see it in color.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally when you're going through a recessionary period of time, the colors are much cooler. They're a little bit more subtle. Mm-hmm. Uh, it's again, it's a dark place to be because I'm trying to find myself. We're seeing color variations that we never even dreamed were possible,
Oh,
and so we're seeing a lot of neon ink, and it's not necessarily bright, eye-piercing neon inks. It's more about the warm tones, because when you think about how things translate to consumer products, as people expand themselves out, they actually exude a warmer personality. So the colors are more approachable and reflective of that as well. So we're seeing reds shift from, say, the standard 199 Pantone colors. We're seeing it shift more into tomato red,
mm,
more into embracing red. We're seeing the blues become very, very warm. We're seeing them into the indigos. We're seeing them in the sapphires, much richer tonal, high density colors.
right.
But they all have, again, this sparkleness dimensionality to it.
Yeah.
Influences from other products, I would say. Mid-century is huge right now.
Absolutely.
Now you and I sit there. We probably hated
Yeah.
that olive green refrigerator or
Yeah.
that maize stovetop that we had. So it's not so much the color variations as it is the use of the simplicity.
Right. So harvest gold is not coming back, and avocado green are not. That's
Right.
good to know.
Right. But as soon as I say that sunflowers are not in, they're going to come back.
Of
So
course, of course.
that's what keeps us all in business,
These are
right?
just design guidelines, not the absolute, everyone.
Right.
That's fun. Now, are there any new products that you can share with us that I know you mentioned the 6 different product categories that Design works in? Anything new that you're adding into that mix?
Well, we've been studying actually the social behavior of people in communication. And we've been studying it for about the past 2 years. And we have really identified that although our mobile devices are great and we stay in contact and we're able to do this, which is awesome,
Right.
we still actually speak on phones. But what we're seeing in this shift is that with all this, what we refer to as noise and clutter around us, there really is a shift into folks becoming a little bit more reflective or giving themselves reminders. So we're actually shifting into releasing some product that actually returns to its origin of written communication. And we'll be launching a product line of 24 journals coming out in November.
Oh, very
Because
cool.
as we witnessed and as we look at the social behavior of folks, they're jotting notes down more, brief reminders. And primarily what we've studied, and we do study some of the psychological meanings behind that,
Hmm.
is that there is still nothing greater to retain knowledge than putting a pen to a piece of paper.
Right.
There is certain
A process
physiological
yourself.
things. Right. Now, we're doing it in a design way, which is very, very unique and different. We're using dimensional treatments. We're using thermography. We're using special holographic foils. We're using embossing, debossing. And what we're doing is, for instance, if we have art that's inspired from an oil painting, we're actually able to get the strokes of the brush
Hmm.
into the cover of the journal.
Yeah.
So that not only is it a reflection of someone's own personal style, it actually becomes a statement piece.
Yeah, they can integrate their own writing and their own words into something that just makes them feel good, that they want to open and go back to. So
Right. Right.
that's great. Well, let's shift gears a little bit here because I want to ask you specifically how much of your art at Design is actually created in-house versus is licensed?
In-house, we probably only produce about 25% of our own work, and
Okay.
that's done intentionally.
Hmm.
That's done intentionally so that we can get out and we can drink champagne often with artists. That's always fun.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it's just so that we get influence. So we probably have artist relationships with over 600 to 800 artists throughout the world.
That's great.
And some are represented by fantastic agents like yourself.
Oh, yes, yes. I love working with you guys, and I appreciate so much that you share. The level of insights and research that you do to come up with, what you want to produce. And then now we're translating this back to, what do you want artists to, present to you? In other words, what kinds of things are easier for you to look at and, have guide you into choosing an artist?
Probably myself and our senior director of creative, the most help that we have is actually offering a diverse portfolio. Even if it was something you sketched when you were 14 years old, we may be able to pull something out of that
Mhm.
where we find that it's a relevant translation to our product categories. The second most important thing is to study the trends. The World Wide Web is a fantastic thing. I mean, everyone wants to travel to Paris. I understand that, but the resources that are available, WGN is a great resource out there in the UK. They do videotape productions of results of shows that happen either at Maison Objet or Paper World or Christmas World or the Hong Kong Fair. Search for that. We're usually putting information out as well.
Okay.
And the last part is understanding kind of what our product is about.
Okay. So if an artist has a diverse portfolio and quite a bit of work, sending you not only some samples but links to as much as you guys can view would be
Yes.
exciting for you, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
And actually understanding what our ask questions. Ask questions is the biggest thing.
really? Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's very helpful for you to ask Tom or Elise questions or myself questions. Where where are you guys headed?
Hmm.
Because we're so far in advance
Yeah.
and the creative process is always getting condensed. The more information that you know about what we're trying to explore,
Right.
the better off it is.
Right. So even someone who's new to art licensing and is sending in a portfolio, it's okay for them to ask you questions and to ask for guidance on, what you're looking for. And I
Oh,
do
for sure.
Okay, and I do know that Tom, as he whittles it down, I mean, he's very honest, and he says we're kind of beyond that now, or we're looking for this now, or he's very communicative, which is great.
Right. And what you'll find from Tom is um, Tom never stops working. Tom Vitoy never stops working. And but what he does, and he has about an hour drive every morning, and that is Tom's time to think.
That's great.
And but you're right. He's an exceptional communicator, and he's very clear in his direction when things don't hit the mark. Because what we don't want is designers to get frustrated.
Right.
It's okay if you haven't gotten there. And I can imagine as an artist sometimes I could feel a little bit odd. Like, is it me? No, it's not you. It's just that we happen to be going after a market channel that's driven by the consumer that's telling us what to do.
Right. And if they don't hit that mark right now, it doesn't mean they wouldn't later, and it doesn't mean that their art is bad. But
Exactly right.
they need to send in a portfolio. They need to study the trends and send in things that they believe will be hitting future trends. And you want people to ask questions and to make sure that as they are sending things in, that they're improving, what they send in and making sure that it hits more and more of the mark of what you're looking for.
Right. And again, with over 10,000 rooftops in North America, it's not hard to find our product.
No, not at all. And
And the more
on your
that
website, you've got everything. So
Yeah, and the more that you actually experience the product face to face,
mhm.
it will become more clear to a designer about how sensitive we are to color matching.
Mhm.
So that even though we're printing on different substrates, and trust me, printing on a paper tissue napkin is very different than printing on, 12-point coated stock on a greeting card.
Yeah, and you
In
guys
terms
get
of,
really in-depth colors and brilliant colors and a lot of embellishments, and your printing is so beautiful.
and that takes a lot of effort too. So also don't be too presumptive about what we may use artwork on either.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and sending presentations by email is preferred to mailing something in. Is that correct?
I always am fearful if someone mails us things
Yeah.
that it may get lost.
Right. Right. I always tell people to just that emailing is just fine, and but sometimes they like to hear it from you too, just to make sure, because they think sometimes it's best to mail it in. But I do get weary too. I don't want people to
It's
ever lose their art, or you know,
sure.
even copies. It's expensive. How do you decide which artists are going to fill those slots that you need to fill for the next year?
Well, I think typically what the final decision process is, how close are they to getting our concept?
Mhm.
And how feasible is it for them to refine it? Now remember too, we have a house, every piece of art that comes in here before it's manufactured, our own designers are touching it
Mhm.
so that it's put into its proper format because we know the treatments that we're going to use on it. We interpret it as well. But when it comes down to actually selecting the artwork,
Mhm.
it's pretty simple because we have key categories of what market channel that we feel either needs to be replaced or what market channel we need to try to penetrate.
Right.
And within that consumer lifestyle is where the trends are going to fall in. So I would say overall, the review process is quite quick.
Mhm.
By the time we sift through it, Tom goes through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces a day. And, as he shifts through it, and he will either say, not now, not ever, or maybe in the future, or yes. So,
So it's either yes, no, or maybe, and people need to be prepared for that. And if it's maybe, they need to understand at what time it might work.
right,
In other words, if trends change, or if you have an opening for nautical or whatever the reason is, and
right.
they need to keep sending in material in. I think that people think that if they haven't heard back, sometimes that they shouldn't send more. But I think they need to keep sending it in. Need to keep freshening it up and keep in touch and make sure Tom knows that you're sending more and more. And that way, that when he does see something he likes, he'll get in touch. He knows you're there.
And normally we can cover a lot of bases in the front end of it.
Okay.
So at least if we have a biography about what style of art that someone has
Okay.
or where they think they may fit in,
Hmm.
that's probably the best advice that I can give an artist. We're never going to be crass. We're not. So if you're a crass artist, I give you a phone number of a few of my competitors.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
So know who you are and what you'll do, and
right.
don't be sending you the vulgar language and the things that are just inappropriate for your audience.
Right. And we also have two different audiences. Our consumer audience is far more accepting than our national regional chain audience is
Mm,
on display.
right.
So we're always looking for it. Humor is probably the hardest thing for us,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Sure is.
as you know.
As I know, I'm always trying to send them humor. Oh, anyway,
It's
Phil,
a hard
this has
one.
been so helpful, and I really appreciate it. Is there any final advice that you would give artists that are sending things to Design?
Stay creative. We love you. Just keep creating. Bring it on. We will work with you. We're always open. I know it's always difficult as an artist to try to interpret how you're going to translate into the business world. That's what we're here for, is to get it to market.
Mhm.
That's what our job is. And don't ever give up.
That's great.
Don't ever give up.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I think people will appreciate knowing that once they get their art into your hands, that you guys are going to be doing great quality production and making sure that the design on the product is really good.
Oh,
And
absolutely. And we always actually return it back to the artist to make sure that we didn't lose the inspiration.
that's good.
That's my closing. We want to get inside your mind
Hmm.
and know what inspired you. Because if we know what inspired you, we can translate that, especially in greeting cards. And we can carry that we can continue that into an area that you as a designer might never even thought of with words on page 3 of a greeting card.
Hmm.
That really gets to the heart and the emotional aspects of maybe what you intended it to be.
Yeah.
So
And
it's a great business.
yeah, and never give up. Keep creating.
Keep creating.
Absolutely. Well, Phil, thanks for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you very soon again.
Oh, anytime. Always here.
Okay, thanks.